पंगुं लांघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। नमयों विष्णुपादाय श्रीगौरप्रियमूर्तये श्रीमते भक्तिवल्लभतीर्थगोस्वामिनामिने। कृपया क्षमतामपराधिजनं कलुषायुतशक्तसुदीननरं सुपथे परिचालय सर्वदिनं। प्रणमामि च माधवदेवपदं। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 11th chapter, the story of Jadabharat. Jadabharat is now speaking to King Rahugana. Rahugana engaged Jadabharat in carrying his palanquin, but he was not able to properly do so, principally because he was seeing so many insects crawling on the floor, on the ground. While walking, he was worried that he may hurt them. So as not to hurt the insects, he was carefully avoiding. While walking, he was watching. So he was not able to meet with the pace of the other three carriers, due to which there was a disbalance and the king was, moving inside in a disbalanced way. So at first he told, "Hey, why are you not carrying properly? What's wrong with all of you?" So the other carriers, they were afraid that they may be punished by the king. So they said, "Oh Maharaj, we have not been negligent of your services. We are doing it very carefully, but this newly joined fellow is not able to carry properly, because of which there is a disbalance." And again, when this continued, the king said in a very loud voice, but in a sarcastic way, to Jadabharat, "Hey, you seem to be an old person. You seem to have, weak arms and limbs. Are you tired? You are very lean also. So in a very sarcastic way, Jada Bharat was stout. He has nicely built arms, and he is not old, he is young. But still, when the king made such remarks, Jada Bharat did not really reply anything. He just continued doing his job. But the way in which he was moving, proceeding, did not really change. The same thing continued. So now the king became very angry. You rascal, you're not worried about the punishment. You know whom you are disobeying. I am the king. You are not following the orders of the king. You know what is the result? Just like Yama punishes all the sinners, I am going to punish you. Still did not really matter to him. He continued the same way. And when Jadabharat saw the repeated, sarcastic and arrogant remarks of the king, he just commented that yes, whatever you said is right if I were the body. You told that I am tired. Yes, those who are identifying themselves with the body and the mind, they get tired. But Atma never gets tired. You are telling that you are a king and I am a servant. For how long? Tomorrow, I might get a greater kingdom than you, and you may lose your kingdom. This position as a king and a servant is all temporary. What will happen when is not known to anyone. Therefore, your words, you are thinking that you are very wise in speaking these, but I only see your ignorance. The king immediately got on the palanquin. He offered obeisances to Jadabharat and he told, are you an Avadhuta? Are you the incarnation of Narayana, Kapila Bhagavan? Are you wandering here to just shower mercy upon me? Why do you look like this? Your clothes you don't have upper cloth. Your lower cloths soiled. Your hair is matted. You don't seem to be maintained. Why are you, appearing like this? Are you a Brahmana or a Brahmabandhu because you have a thread? Please dispel my darkness. And also, I have not understood your words. I have not understood your words that Atma is not fatigued, that the position of a king or a servant is temporary, but it does not mean as long as we are king, as long as I am a master, I shall not take care of my duties. It is not correct. It may be temporary, but for whatever time I have this duty, I shall have to fulfill my responsibilities. Why did you say like this? Please explain in detail. Jadabharat, he gave so many examples, he gave so many instructions. He further talked about the mind, which is the cause of bondage and which is also the cause of liberation. He further talks about Atma and Paramatma, how there are various material elements and the fields of actions, but all these are not able to interact among themselves unless Paramatma is making them do so. Even though all these fields of action are there, means five material elements, five material sense organs, working sense organs, and five knowledge acquiring sense organs, and the false ego, the intelligence. Apart from this, the nature of a living entity, the culture one has developed, all these things are there, but they will interact with each other to multiply into innumerable combinations only by the influence of Paramatma, but not by their own selves. The activities of a living entity, activities of the mind, how the mind is causing the bondage, how the mind is causing liberation, all of these things are seen by a liberated soul. A muktatma, a liberated soul, is able to see the activities of the mind so nicely. Whereas the conditioned soul is just carried away by the mind's duties. Mind is considering that this body belongs to me, this person belongs to me, this country belongs to me, this house is mine, this car is mine. Whatever the mind is dictating, the conditioned living entity is just obeying to the dictations of the mind. But a liberated soul is able to see from a holistic perspective, from a higher perspective. He is able to see how the mind is actually dictating everything.
His mind or other people's minds also?
Everything.
He can see other people's?
Yes. A muktatma, a liberated soul, can see how the mind is making every living entity dance in this material world. Just like, if you want to see the objects of this world, if you have a camera above, the camera that is above, from a top view you will be able to see all the surroundings. These days it's very commonly seen that they are doing live or so many things with the drone cameras. Why? The drone camera can cover the lot of space, and it can show a big perspective of the entire picture. But if I put a camera here, if this fellow's face is coming, the person behind is not seen, or whether someone is sitting or not is also not seen. So what I wanted to say is some superior perspective, from a higher perspective, the muktatmas, the liberated souls, are able to see. The mind comes into manifestation during the awakened and the dreaming state, and it is in the sleeping state, in a deep sleep state, the mind's activities are unmanifest. Whatever is experienced in the deep sleep state is by Atma. We have heard detailed example on the other day. I am not going to get into these details today. So the muktatma is able to see. Now yesterday we heard how the Paramatma, the Supreme Soul, is the controller of all the living entities. He is the controller of even the demigods, and how he is the shelter of everyone. He is unborn, he is complete, he is the cause of this material world, and he is self-manifest. Just like the life air is present in all the living entities, mobile and immobile, in a similar manner, the Lord has entered into all the universes as well as all individual living beings, and he is controlling. The life air is controlling us. In a similar manner, Supreme Lord is also controlling all the living entities by entering as super soul in all the living entities. Now we will continue from verse number 15. So, because there are newcomers and you have come after a long time, I just want to ask if everything is clear so far. You have any questions? You have? No.
I watched the YouTube.
Oh, okay. You have been following. Okay. So we'll continue from verse number 15. Na yavadetam tanubrin narendra vidhuyamayang vayunodayena vimukta sangau jitashad sapatno vedatma tattvam भ्रमति हतावत. हे नरनाथ, देहधारी जीव जत दिन असत संग रहित ओ षड रिपु जयी होइया ज्ञानोद्रे के द्वारा माया निरसन पूर्वक आत्मतत्व अवगत होइते ना पारे तत दिन से इस संसार चक्रे भ्रमण करे. O king, the living entity, as long as he is not keeping himself away from asat sanga, bad association, as long as the living entity does not keep himself away from bad association, sat and asat. Sat means eternal, asat means temporary. As long as we are keeping association with asat, the temporary persons, the temporary objects, and the temporary surroundings, even the body, as long as the living entity does not conquer the 6 enemies, lust, anger, greed, envy, jealousy,
Madness.
intoxicant madness, as long as an infatuation, as long as one has not overcome these 6 enemies, as long as the living entity has not come out of asat sanga, bad association or temporary association, and as long as the living entity is not able to drive away his ignorance through knowledge, by which he is established in Atma Tattva, in the knowledge of the self, till that time the living entity has to wander in this material world. He has to pass through the cycles of birth and death. Previously, Jadabharat is telling the mind is carrying the living entity from one body to other. Because the ego is identifying itself with the body that one has attained, that is, as a man or a woman, as an animal, as a demigod, as demon, whatever it is. This is the mind that is making a living entity identify with various bodies. But actually, Atma has no such designation. Atma is neither a demon, Atma is not a demigod, Atma is not a man, Atma is not a woman, Atma is not an animal, not a tree. Atma is completely beyond any of these. Therefore, the mind is actually in combination with the ego identifying oneself with all these mundane designations. And therefore, sometimes this body, sometimes another body, sometimes another body, one is wandering in this manner. Here, therefore, it is said, as long as one is not freed away from ignorance by knowledge. Where can one get knowledge? Who can give us knowledge? One who is fully in the state of knowledge, only he can give us knowledge. Not by study of books. By studying books, we cannot get knowledge. If that were so, there is no need of schools and colleges and institutes anywhere in the world. Just print the textbooks and let everyone get knowledge. Why should there be any training centers at all? I am talking about material education. Simply going through textbooks will not make one knowledgeable of anything. In a similar manner, spiritual texts are there. I will read the scriptures and I will know what is to be done, what is not to be done. Tapana Mishra, he read all the scriptures, but he was confused. What is to be done, what is not to be done? What is the duty of a living entity? What is Sreshta Dharma, the highest duty of all the living entities? He asked so many scholars. Nobody could reply him. He was very worried. Where can I get an answer for this? One day he sees a dream that one saint from Bengal is coming. Tapan Mishra was in East Bengal, the current day Bangladesh. So, one saint from Bengal is coming tomorrow. He will give your answers. That is none other than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, the next day he sees that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to the place of Tapana Mishra, and Tapana Mishra instantly falls at his feet and says, I am confused about what is to be done, what is the duty of a living entity. The scriptures say that we should do karma. They say that you should do dharma. They say that you should have jnana, vairagya, yoga. So many things are there, but I am not able to understand what is right and what is highest. Mahaprabhu says, what is there to be confused about it? Harinam Sankirtan is the highest. That is the essence of all the scriptures. That is the essence of all other instructions. Then Tapana Mishra falls at his feet. Thank you very much for clearing my doubts, for letting me know what is the highest objective of all the living entities. By performing Krishnama Sankirtan, everything is performed. Therefore, simply going through books, scriptures, one will not get knowledge. One has to come in contact with the realized souls, and only then it is possible. But as long as one is not driving away the ignorance, or one is not able to establish himself in the Atma Tattva, in the truth of the Atma, on the state of the Atma platform, by driving away ignorance through knowledge, as long as one has not become victorious over the 6 enemies, and as long as one is associating with the temporary, he will have to pass through the repeated cycle of birth and death. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in the commentary, Ei rupe avidya hoite uttirna mukta jiva ganer bhagavad aradhan rupa gyan shashvita kai nityai iha uha ukta hoilo. So, the liberated soul's platform is eternal. Means the living entities who are conditioned in this material world, it is not eternal. Temporarily, they are kabu swarge uthaye, kabu narake dubai. Sometimes we are in pleasurable state, sometimes in a sorrowful state, sometimes happy, sometimes distress. So, this is going on. There is no state that is permanent here in this material world. Whereas the liberated souls, they are permanently situated on one platform. Yad gatva nanivartante tad dhama paramam mama. By attaining me or my abode, a living entity will not have to see this material world again. Nanivartante, you will not come back here again. But you may come back by the desire of Krishna in order to rescue the fallen souls. By the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mission of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, we may be sent here. Not we means not we, the liberated souls. They may be sent here in order to rescue fallen souls like us. But when they come here, they are not suffering or enjoying like us. They are in constant bliss, being guided by Supreme Lord. Ar avidyapatita jivaganeru avidya hoite uttaraner ihai sadhan. And those who are engrossed in this material world, those who are ignorant fools, the only path by which they can get out of this ignorance, come out of this material world is nayavad ityadi vayunodayena atma tattva avagata na hoy. one has to drive away the ignorance, one has to drive away Maya by establishing oneself in Atma Tattva through knowledge. What knowledge? We are not worshippers of knowledge. Actually, we are not worshippers of knowledge. We are followers of the path of bhakti. Brahmaji, in his prayers, he is telling that I shall kick jnana, knowledge, very, very far away from me. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva. He is telling that you should leave your knowledge very, very far away. Udapasya namanta eva. By completely giving up the endeavor to attain knowledge. Then Jivanta Sanmukharitam Bhavadiya Vartam. Stay in the company of the saintly souls. Stay in the company of the devotees. Jivanta Sanmukharitam, and hear from their mouth Bhavadiya Vartam about Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Sthane Sthita. What should you do? Sthane Sthita. You should situate yourself near the sadhu. Not visit once in a while, okay, I'll just go and visit. No. Sthane Sthita, situate yourself in the company of the sadhus and hear about Supreme Lord constantly. Shruti Tanuvang Manobhi. Hear. Give your ears to sadhu. And Tanu Vang Manobhi. Through your body, through your speech, through your mind, you offer obeisances to Krishna. Jiveto muktipade sa dayabhak. No. Sthane sthita shrutikatang tanuvang manobhi ye prayasho ajita jito api asitais trilokyam. Ye prayasho. Even one, it is very difficult to attain Supreme Lord by endeavor. How much endeavor one may do. He is Ajita. Jita means to conquer. Ajita means unconquerable. He is not to be conquered by any kind of effort. But Ajita Jita. That Ajita will become Jita. Means that in unconquerable will become conquerable by following this path, staying in the company of the sadhus, hearing Harikatha, and lend your ears to sadhu. That is hearing Harikatha. And through your mind, speech, and body, engage in the service. By that, that inconquerable Lord will become easily attainable to you. Brahmaji is telling. Why he is telling this? Purushottam month is beginning. I have a desire to speak these prayers of Brahma in English language. Let us see if that materializes, because in the month of Purushottama we are supposed to hear the glories of Purushottama Krishna. That Brahma is offering prayers to Purushottam Krishna after he was infatuated. He had stolen the cows, calves, the cowherd boys. He was thinking that he is an ordinary cowherd boy. And after that he realized his mistake. And then he offers his prayers to Purushottama Krishna. So we have to hear these prayers. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has, given this instruction to all of us that you should hear this. So if Supreme Lord gives his mercy, then we will go through that. We will stop Jada Bharats for a while and then we will continue. We will start doing that. So this is the prayer of Brahma. He is telling that I tried to understand you through my knowledge. I couldn't understand you. But when I submitted to you, then entire knowledge came that you are Supreme Lord. So the knowledge that is talked about here is that knowledge, revealed knowledge, not attained knowledge, or not the knowledge that we try to attain through ascending process. The revealed knowledge. Do you find the difference between the two? When will the knowledge get revealed? One is, I want to understand Jagadish Prabhu by my knowledge. Oh, he is like this, he is like this, his nature is like this body is like this. The other is trying to understand him by the way he reveals to me, which is correct, which is going to be correct. One by ascending process, other is revelation. Obviously, there is no doubt that the knowledge attained through revelation is always superior to the knowledge that one attains by the sense organs, which are always, deceiving us, cheating us. What we see is probably what it is actually. They are all deceiving, isn't it? What we see is many times not so. Our Pujapad Bharati Maharaj used to give an example. He told that one time I am passing through one particular place where sadhus, they go from one place to another. At that time I saw one small boy, 8 years old, 9 years old. He was chastised by a man very cruelly. The man is beating him and the boy is crying. I couldn't tolerate. Maharaj told, I couldn't tolerate, small boy, such a, you need to shower your mercy on such a young boy. And he is chastising, he is beating, and the boy is crying, mercilessly is doing all these things, the older one. So I couldn't stop myself. I went to him. Why are you beating this boy? What did he do? Swamiji, he is my son. He is not obeying our orders. Such a young fellow, he is doing all mischievous, naughty things. If we don't control him now, in the future is going to be a great headache. Not for the house, for the entire society and community. We have to teach him now. And Maharaj told, I became very ashamed. This is Maharaj's words. I was very ashamed. Oh, he used to say, oh, hamara aankh bhi dhokha de diya. Very, very mercifully, lovingly would say, oh, my eyes also deceived me. So the thing is that, what we see is probably what is not the truth, what is not reality. The eyes deceive us. The ears deceive us. Someone is saying something about a person, always bad things. What will we register about him? Oh, that fellow is always bad. And even that fellow is doing nice things. Oh, no, I heard about him. He's such a bad person. These ears are polluting us. These eyes are polluting us. All the sense organs, they are giving bad inputs to our mind. Actually, it is the mind that is getting knowledge from all these things. All the misinterpretations, misunderstandings and, deceptions are being stored in the mind, and now whenever we see a person, bad person. So, what I wanted to say is, any knowledge that is acquired through the sense organs is not going to be perfect. But that knowledge which is revealed from above is going to be perfect. So when one establishes oneself in Atma Tattva, on the platform of Atma, through knowledge, then one will be liberated. Tatkale jiva hoy ei sansar chakra brahman kare. Otherwise, he will pass through the repeated cycle of birth and death. Therefore, we have to come in the company of the devotees. Bino satsanga vivek na hoy. Tulsidas, in his Ramcharitamanas, he is writing, Bino satsanga vivek na hoy. Without satsanga, without the sadhu sangha, without the association of the sadhus, vivek na hoy, one will not get good intelligence. Our intelligence is how to eat nicely, how to sleep nicely, how to make merry nicely, how to give suffering to others, to keep myself happy. This is what our intelligence is going to say. But when we come in contact with the sadhus, then that intelligence will be totally changed to how we can get out of this material world. So without sadhu sangha, it is not possible. So I will stop here because time is up. Is there any question that anyone has? If no questions, then we will stop here. Yes? It's on the 18th from Tuesday. Yes.
I heard also reading chapter 15 Bhagavad Gita is also.
Yes, Purushottam Yoga. Yes, one can read that Purushottam Yoga also. 15th chapter also one can read. But it is particularly this, Srimad Bhagavata, Brahma's prayers that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has. During this, month, any devotional activities, hearing Krishna Katha, hearing Gita, or hearing the instructions of Brahmaji, whatever, all these things are, the do's for this particular month. As much we can engage. I am going to speak on the 17th about Purushottam month, how we can observe this Purushottam month, or how we should observe Purushottam month. On the 17th I will speak. 18th onwards the Purushottam month is going to begin. Okay, so if there are no more questions, we will stop here and tomorrow we will continue. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गांधर्विका गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन पंचतत्वात्मक श्री गौर हरि की जय। परमाराध्यतम पतित पावन स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद भक्तिवल्लभ तीर्थ गोस्वामी श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टोम विष्णुपाद प्रवंश स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति दयित माधव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। जगत गुरु श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री श्री रूपानुग गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ षड गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय। श्री कृष्ण द्वैपायन वेदव्यास महामुनि की जय। श्री सुखदेव गोस्वामी एवं परीक्षित महाराज की जय। जय श्री श्री जड़ भरत की जय। श्री रघुगण राजा की जय। समागत हरि कथा श्रवणकारी भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री हरिनाम प्रभु की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।